So what caused the slap? Assam tried to jump the gun and propose to Lisa on the go without any proper planning. He didn't show any effort, he didn't choose the right location, and he didn't even bother to buy a ring. There was no sincerity, and he was a mess. It all comes down to proper time management. Assam was just slapped because he didn't plan properly. Now we will show what he could have done. Assam should start with planning how to schedule. There are some environmental factors which can affect the different activities, as well as assets he can rely on to make the deliverables. An example of assets in this case can be the experience of friends, which in PMBOK can be noted as lessons learned under organizational process assets. Then, Assam should come up with a grand scheme to get Lisa head over heels for him. He needs to decompose the proposal into an activity list. If he needed to go into more detail, he could also make an attribute list to specify details like work breakdown structure ID, predecessors, leads and lags, and more. The next step is to sequence the activities. It's important to define the relationship between each task. These can be divided into 4 different dependencies: mandatory, discretionary, external, and internal. Mandatory dependencies are the physical limitations that follow hard logic. For example, no ring, no wedding. Discretionary is a preferred logic, for example the egg before the chicken or the chicken before the egg. External dependencies are outside of the project team's control, and internal dependencies are things within your control. He will also have to decide where he could save time by starting the successor before the predecessor is finished, also known as leads, or where he needs to add time where a successor needs to start a certain amount of time after the predecessor's completion, also known as lags. When estimating resources, Assam must consider what he needs to make each activity work, such as friends, money, Lisa to be available, and more. He must calculate this accurately for both time and cost, and sort them into a resource calendar. For Assam's proposal, it would be easiest to use expert judgment and a bottom-up approach, where you try to estimate the cost of each activity, but break each activity down when you find estimating the cost too inaccurate. Next, when planning activity durations, Assam must find the balance between resources available and the amount of time needed to complete the different activities. The estimates are done based on someone's experience of that activity. For example, someone who's proposed before, or using a YouTube video of someone proposing would suffice. This is highly dependent on the quality level wanted and the availability of resources. There are many tools and techniques to determine these durations, like asking his experienced friends for expert judgment, or analogous estimating based on previous similar projects' duration, budget, size, weight, and complexity.
Created using Powtoon.